We are rolling.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Creative Businessmen. Today we have comedian Ben Jones on with us.
Hi.
What's up, man?
Doing pretty good. How about you guys, man?
Great, man.
Doing
I guess if you want to just tell everyone a little about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Well, I'm a stand-up comic. I've been doing it, it'll be 13 years now. It'll be 14 in August. I started when I was still in high school, and now I'm 30, and I've got that many years under my belt. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. So yeah, it's like I'm a super young veteran, I feel like.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
fucking
a big
awesome.
advantage.
Yeah. I started when I was in high school, and I kind of grew up with stand-up comedy. Like stand-up comedy's been a part of my adult life the entire time I've been, grown. So
It's crazy.
yeah.
So how long have you been touring?
I started touring, I'd say middle of 2012. But as far as like touring with the intensity enough to where I can do it full time, it's probably been like 2015 is
Okay.
the last time I had a day job. So
Nice. That's awesome.
yeah, so you kind of just gotta you gotta build your career as it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
When you first dive in, it takes a while to establish yourself.
Right.
So, yeah. So, but the last, I was doing it for that many years, but it was just like in the last like 3 or 4 where I was like, oh, I've sort of shed this like whole starving artist thing I had for a while. I was like, oh, I'm starting to make a comfortable living with it now. So,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah. And then the pandemic hit, and haha.
Joke's on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you were headlining a lot of your
Yeah, I started to
shows, right?
headline some before this happened.
Yeah. Before the world ended.
Yeah, I feature a lot as well. Most of the time I'm featuring, headlining some. I'll do even some local host gigs. So, but like in 2019, I was able to book all but like maybe 5 weeks of the year, which
Wow.
is
Yeah.
which
incredible.
took a while to get to that point. But it's
That's impressive.
And you're featuring or opening for some big names too, right?
yeah. I was at the before. I've worked with a bunch of celebrities and stuff, and then I've worked for a bunch of just no-name road comics, open for them as well. So
Yeah.
and then I've been the no-name road comic headlining sometimes. So it's like I've done the whole gamut of things. So
Right, yeah.
with comedy.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Working your way through the tiers.
So I got to ask you real quick. Like, so I grew up. Paul Talley was a friend of my father. He owned Comedy Zone, right?
I know Paul very well.
Yeah. So we ended up being business partners and doing different things. But early
I actually
on,
think I remember that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I worked at before I started doing stand-up full time. I worked at Uptown Charlie's.
Yeah.
And you opened the place.
That's right.
Across the parking lot.
That's
Yeah,
right, that's
that's
right.
where I know you from.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
And we definitely did that, and we did some other projects together. And so anyway, but when I was growing up, I kind of at an early age was in Comedy Zone, right? Like I was like, I don't know, 13, 14 years old the first time I went, and obviously too young to be in there by some people's standards. But But anyway, I enjoyed the hell out of it, and so I wonder, like me as a let's say teenager in their early teens, like how did you were doing comedy? You started comedy in high school, so how did I was like a consumer of it directly, and it affected me, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got a good sense of humor anyway. And how did it affect you on the other side? Like, because I was receiving it, right? But you were one of the guys actually producing it. So how do you think that affected you at an early age, starting in something that was probably predominantly ran by people that were, much older than you?
Yeah, it is weird because, like you said, like when I first started, I was technically too young to get in the club. I was 17.
Right.
So, I had to email I had to send him an email or whatever on the contact us on the website and be like, hey, I'm too young to get in here, but I really want to do open mic night. And they had some clause where it's like, well, if more than half the party's old enough. So I was able to do it then. But it affects you in a way because I think it gives you a sense of purpose, but at the same time, you're so young that it's like, what life experience do you have to share? Like, you got to talk about your teachers, you gotta talk about your friends at school, like what your parents, and that's kind of what I talked about. You know, I did a lot of like self-deprecation type stuff, like, but it's like, you know, when you're 17, you don't know shit, but you know, as I grew up around comedy, like that's where I learned everything from.
Yeah.
Just being around all the different people that do stand-up comedy, because stand-up's such a melting pot. Like I feel like it's harder to find. It's pretty hard to find a more diverse group than stand-up comics, because it's young, it's old, it's different races, it's different sexualities, different viewpoints, different religions. It's just you know, you don't get that, you know, growing up in Thomasville. You know?
Right,
I agree.
So when I started doing stand-up and, you know, being around all these open micers and all these people that, you know, their brains worked a little differently than most of the people that I grew up around, it was, you know, it was an education for sure.
Yeah.
So
Culture shock.
yeah, exactly.
I agree with you. Just a little bit of time I've spent on these podcasts and you know, meeting a lot of people that partake at the Idiot Box, and then going to some of the events and doing things with Neil. It's definitely diverse. I mean, like, it is crazy how diverse it is. And because you would think, oh, stand-up comedy, if you had to describe, like, what is a stand-up comedian, right? Like, what do they look like?
Yeah.
You can't.
It could be anybody.
It could be anybody.
Yeah.
And literally, it is anybody.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
it's the damnedest thing. I love it.
Maybe there's maybe you could say that comedians are one of the few groups of humans that realize we're all the same.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, I've seen a 13-year-old try stand up, and I've seen a woman that was older than my grandparents traveling the country doing stand up. So that's
awesome.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna try it at one point. I gotta try it. We've been talking about
should.
it. I gotta do it. I'm gonna go up there and eat shit, you know, and bomb.
Well,
and I think
most
I'm gonna have a
people do
good.
their
I'm gonna have a
first
good time doing
time.
it. I'm gonna go out in flames. I won't do it like Rooster at the Idiot Box. Shout out to Rooster. I don't know if you heard about him or not, but yeah,
I didn't.
I'll tell you off.
Funny.
It was good, but I don't want to bomb to that extent. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, just be prepared. Yeah.
Well, every once in a
have
while
something.
you'll bomb as an experienced comic, so it's it happens once in a while. But
Jenny's like, is there any names I need to know about? And he goes, I want to go by Rooster. And she's like, what? And he's like, Rooster. And so he gets up, bombs, like just bombs. And then when he leaves, to make matters worse, he turns left out of the parking lot off the curb, right? Didn't even use a thing, and then went down the wrong one-way street.
oh no.
Yeah, and then you hear horns honking. I was like, don't be Rooster.
A good rule of thumb is anytime you hear somebody with a stage name, a lot of times, especially at an open mic, set your expectations low.
Yeah, it's fine if they're really good. It's like the fighter wearing the pink trunks. You know, he should win.
If you got a stage name, you better be bringing it, man.
Yeah,
That's one of those, like, if you want to be called like just one name, like, you better be bringing the heat.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to call yourself Earthquake, Earthquake's a great guy, but you want to call yourself somebody like Earthquake or, or whatever. I'm trying to think of more people. Like, I'm thinking of Gallagher and Carrot Top. I don't know if they're,
They were great in their time.
Yeah, in their time, for sure.
Yeah.
And, Carrot Top's making more money than any of us.
Yeah,
So-
he's doing well. His signs, I was just in Vegas again, and his signs are still everywhere.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the name of that casino, but I went there and had dinner, but I saw his signs everywhere. I was like, this dude. I was like, how old is Carrot Top? Exactly. Like, because he looks like he's 30.
He's got to be in his 50s.
Oh, yeah,
I'm thinking he's
up
60s.
there.
Is he still jacked?
And I think he's had some work done,
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely looks like he's had some. The picture, he looked jacked in the picture still, big time. But he's definitely had a little help.
Yeah.
Well, hey, good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is that guy started working a lot of the same clubs I work now. That's how he came up. Just working the road. Everybody does that,
Yeah.
And like my T-shirt guy used to be. Well, his son does my T-shirts now, but his father used to be like the big comedy merch guy. And like Carrot Top used to be one of his big clients.
Oh wow!
So when he was so it's just I mean it's all the same pathway everybody takes to come up.
Yeah.
But I don't recommend stage names.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't get up there and come up with some dumb shit. I was just gonna get up there and be like, I'm Daniel. Like,
That's it,
Yeah.
You got something you want to go by?
Yeah, don't be up there like I'm caveman or whatever. Something.
Call me eat shit.
Yeah.
That is more of a
eat shit. Eat shit.
Shit eater.
Shit eater.
Yeah.
Shit eater.
Well, at least there'd be low expectations.
That's true. That's true. Maybe I should do that.
I think stage names were more of an 80s
Yeah.
type thing anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on Instagram and on the social media, we might need to switch back to that too. I was just thinking about that myself.
Back to stage names?
Yeah, get away from the stage names.
Oh, yeah. Just be like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Facebook had it right for a while, but then people started doing like those couples accounts.
Yeah.
and just, some people get away with their
That's
little
just
weird
trust
name,
issues.
Yeah, I agree.
that is. It is. It's obnoxious. Like, who am I talking to?
Yeah.
Right.
Like.
Whose birthday is it today?
Yeah. Like, I guess if you're 70 some years old, Facebook's coming in at the end of your life,
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. You want to make sure Jim has access to the stuff too, but
it's a fun activity as a group there if you're 70. Like, let's figure out how we work this Facebook.
Yeah.
Real quick.
What if there are any communal?
Jim and Martha are going to start an account.
Yeah. What if there's any communal Facebook pages? You have like 30 members on one account.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're just speaking to the cult.
Like a household account.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, I get maybe if a
Terrible
business
parents.
page is that, I guess, or
a business page could be like they're
like everybody
that,
in the company.
That's different though. Yeah.
Yeah, it is different. But.
I don't
Private
know, man.
accounts.
You got to keep Jimmy off of it, right?
Yeah.
There's always that one employee that you cannot have on the
No, sir.
social media account.
Yeah. And oftentimes it's the person that's running the social media account.
Exactly.
Like, hey, dude, why are we friends with all these porn stars? What's going on here?
This is a true story, actually. I get my. I'm like, hey, we can see who your friends are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just want to put that out there, man. I mean, like, I can see. Everybody can see, bro. We're not talking about like just girls. We're talking about like straight up porn stars, playmates. Like, it's a little excessive, bro.
And I've seen it too, where people follow porn stars and then they don't realize that when you like their page, something they posted,
You see it all there.
Yeah, it'll show up in other people's feed that you liked it. So
yeah,
that's funny.
Oh yeah,
and some of those porn stars, they'll post their most hardcore stuff on Twitter. They don't care.
On
So
Twitter,
so you'll just be like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. These are not political takes.
Yeah, don't let your kids on Twitter.
Sure. Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what makes it real funny for me is I've got a guy. I'm not gonna call him out, but he has since cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, man, just the ones that look so obvious, like just get rid of those.
Yeah.
Like you can remember. I was like, jot it down, man. Go old school, pen and pad, just write it down.
At the very least, don't like and retweet.
Exactly. So I was like, dude, you're also setting yourself up to fail here. Like, most girls don't do that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to be severely disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you do meet a girl and she sees that half of your friends are those people, then
yeah, bro.
Yeah,
it's a red
usually
flag.
if you meet a girl that does stuff like that, you probably don't want to be messing with them too much.
I agree. And if you're the girl that meets a guy that has that all in his feed, all on his friend list, like the girl's got to be like you're saying, it's got to be like
run.
It's a red flag for sure.
I don't
Run
know
away.
about this. Yeah.
Don't sit on that guy's sofa.
Yeah. I try to stay away from that stuff, man. Honestly, and I'm not hating on anybody. I think you should do what you want. I'm all body positivity. You can be 500 pounds naked on there or 50 pounds on there naked. I don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
But at the same point, I just try to keep myself focused.
Yeah, because it could be a rabbit hole for sure for a lot of people.
Definitely.
That's true. Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a new experiment. Like people just having hardcore porn available to them.
Yeah.
Anytime they want, at the in a device they carry around everywhere.
It's really a brain extension in your pocket.
Yeah, we're guinea pigs for the stuff.
That's
so
right.
It's like, you definitely got to be careful about that.
I see people on their Apple Watch sometime. I'm like, are they watching porn on their watch? Like I'm serious. I've caught it in public, like
porn on an Apple Watch.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I couldn't tell for sure.
Well, I guess
it's a smaller screen.
That's a good thing, I guess, depending on what your dominant hand is. You know what I mean?
That's why they wear their watch backwards.
Yeah,
right?
they're gonna.
Like if you're a lefty and
you just came up. That's one of y'all's got to use that. That's good. That's good shit.
That could be your first set.
Yeah. I get to use it. Can I have it?
Yeah, I'll donate that to you, man.
Hey, I'm gonna pay you guys both. I can have that one.
You can have that one. That's
Have
yours.
at it, man.
Fucking A. I love it. Y'all can help me polish it up later.
Yeah.
That's a premise. You got to write the jokes.
We'll make it happen. Though.
Yeah, fair enough. The polish it up was a weak attempt at another one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Masturbation jokes.
Level 1.
Well, dick jokes have always worked, though, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with a dick joke.
Good. You don't think Jenny's gonna be offended, do you?
I don't think Jenny can be offended.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Dick jokes it is.
Unless you just tell a really bad joke.
Yeah.
Bad comedy is offensive.
Very offensive.
Yeah,
like bad comedy as an offensive comedy, or bad comedy as
bad comedy
just a shit
bad
joke?
comedy will clear a room. You know?
Yeah. Just not good jokes.
Not good jokes. Yeah.
If it can be extraordinarily offensive, but really funny, and it's great.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like comedians. They got a good sense of humor, and they can take a joke. Most of them.
Yeah.
Well, most. Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised. I've known a few that get a little sensitive.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the wrong career choice.
It's not. It's not even just like the content or anything like that. It's just like any sort of criticism. A lot of people just like.
Oh yeah.
They just lose it. You know, it's like you're standing on a stage basically asking people, judge me in the harshest way in real time. You know, so it's got to be. You got to develop a thick skin if you want to be a stand-up.
And if the response is bad, it means the material's bad.
Yeah, 100%. And that's it. Doesn't get any realer than that, because people are they put themselves in these echo chambers with their friends and family, and they're yes men.
Well, it's like if you go to an open mic night and you see, and I've seen it 1,000 times, probably more than 1,000 at this point, where somebody will go up at their open mic night for the first time and they'll be like, they'll come on with so much confidence. Because, man, they are funny as shit to their friends. Yeah. And, I don't doubt that person in their group of friends is the funniest person in their group of friends. What I'm saying is your group of friends probably not that funny.
Right.
Well,
so it's like, it depends.
It could be sympathetic laughing and they're just not getting it.
Yes, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, also, having a good sense of humor and being really funny are two different things too.
That's true.
And also, comedy is writing.
Yeah,
it's very clever writing.
Yeah, it's being funny and being funny on cue, and in a way where it's a calculated.
Yeah, it's very constructed.
Yeah. Not everybody can do that.
Right.
I agree.
Timing and all that stuff.
Just an asterisk to what we just said. I think someone with sympathetic humor is great for a relationship, by the way. A girlfriend with sympathetic humor, like the gentle laugh when you drop your pants, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's good for the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cute. I like that.
It's comforting.
It's comforting,
it's not much, but it did elicit a reaction of some kind.
It did. It's kind of nice in my mouth, actually.
Yeah, like you should feel bad if you just drop your pants and there's no reaction.
Yeah, it's just like
it's more like
yeah.
I
don't know. We got one guy in our building that I've heard horror stories. Like he drops and they go, no,
yeah,
no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
and I'm like, on one level, as a guy, as a man, I want that. But then he's actually had girls that wouldn't sleep with him because of it. So
is it like too small or just
too
big or
too big? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
See that?
But everybody wants that, right? But he says it's not. It's not.
It's a blessing and a curse.
That's what he says. He's like, it's not. He's like, it's not, man. He's like, he's lost more because of that.
You don't want to have something that's intimidating to
That's
people.
right.
Right.
That's right.
Yes. You don't want to.
It's got to be functional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
It's like we're talking about design or something.
Yeah. You don't want someone to look at your schlong and be like, oh, this is going to be a circus act.
Yeah. That's great, but what now?
Yeah. What am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah. Can we cut that in half? Is there
jump rope, anyone?
Yeah.
I think I want to go back to my ex-boyfriend now. Oh man. Anyway, we went on a tangent.
Yeah.
All about dicks.
This show is a tangent.
It is a tangent.
That's what we do. Tangents.
I got some new material though, or my only material.
Yeah.
You'll build it.
Yeah. I think going back to the guys or the people that come in, the comics that come in, they don't do well and they get upset. They get offended because nobody laughs.
Yeah.
It's funny when they get mad because people aren't laughing at their terrible jokes.
Yeah, you can't get mad.
It makes me feel like they probably had, like their parents were too easy on them.
Yeah, like they were just like, oh yeah, he's so brilliant, he's
Like,
so funny.
Yeah. Everything was great.
Yeah, the bumper sticker, like my kid's an honor student, he's brilliant, he's gonna be a genius.
Like they draw a picture or something for the parents, like, oh, that's incredible. You should, should be a professional artist. And it's just a shitty scribble on a paper, It's like, come on.
This ain't good enough for the refrigerator. Come on,
Kids need some criticism.
color in the lines, man.
There's no pictures on my fridge, just so you know. I kind of want to be the dad that, and I wouldn't do this, but I'm borderline, that wants the sticker on the back that says, "My son fucked your honor student." That's what I want.
That's a great sticker.
I think that's an awesome sticker. I don't know that I've seen one, but that's what I want mine to say.
I'm sure there's one out there.
Well, that's your first merch right there.
There we go. Hey, goddamn, we're doing it today.
Yeah.
That's
Launch
the name
the
of
career.
your comedy special in the future.
The name of your comedy special? Yeah. We're doing it today, or my student fucked your honor student?
Yeah, my son fucked your honor
Either
student.
one.
Yeah. I'm getting there. We're building this. I like this, man.
Yeah, my parents were pretty hard on me when I was growing up. So when I eat shit on stage, it's just like whatever.
Yeah.
It still feels bad,
Well, it's like
but I appreciate the criticism.
it's like playing guitar. Like I'm currently trying to relearn how to play guitar. I used to play.
Oh yeah.
But it's like crowd reactions almost become like calluses on your hand when you're learning to play guitar.
Oh,
Because it's like you get, the more you get in front of crowds, it's like you're building those calluses when you learn to play guitar on your fingers. It's like you're able to, you're able to have a show that isn't to your liking or have a joke not hit. And you're like, oh, well, I know I'm funny. I'm going to keep going. It's
a great analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That is a good analogy. Are you left-handed?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
I saw the way
My
you-
Apple Watch needs to go on the right.
Well, no, you just wear it on the inside of your left hand.
I don't.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I don't know. I've got a guitar over there. We can give it a shot. That's two.
Well, I'm not good yet. I'm still.
yeah.
I took lessons when I was like 16 or 16 or something, and then I started doing stand up, and I just, not that I didn't want to continue learning. My focus became. I just dropped it like a hot tamale.
Oh yeah.
So like now I'm like older and like. Like last year during the pandemic, stand up sort of went away in a pretty severe way. So I was like, I don't know what to do with myself anymore. So I was like, you know what, I should pick up the guitar again. So
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Well, I think as an artist, it's great to have other outlets of creativity. So music's a good one.
Yeah.
yeah,
You don't have to be great at it. You just have to be able to
Yeah.
exactly
play
yeah.
it enough to enjoy it yourself.
Yeah.
That's
been my focus. Like I'm not gonna try to join a band, and I think about it. Start a band or join a band or play professionally or anything like that. For one, I'm still learning. I'm like, I can play 0 songs right now.
You're learning chords.
Yeah, exactly, chords and stuff.
Chords and scales.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I sort of think of it that way. Is like, like there's guys that pick up the guitar and they want to be, they want to be rock stars, and I just want to be able to amuse myself for a little while in a creative way.
Right.
And I think that's the way some people see comedy.
Yeah.
Like at the open mic level and stuff. Not everybody's trying to do it for a living, which sometimes I forget. But
cool.
Sometimes I'm also have this attitude where it's like some of those guys like, like what are you trying to do with this?
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But it's a great hobby for a lot of people too, though.
Yeah. I play a little bit. For me, it's like functional art.
Yeah.
I like. For me, I love the way a guitar looks. I love the craftsmanship. I've got them. They're hanging. They're like I'm not a big hunter, so I don't have like deer heads and shit on my walls. I do have guitars on my wall.
Yeah.
I mount and hang guitars.
Well, and there's something about things that you enjoy so profusely as music.
Yeah.
This is the thing it comes out of.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And then it's functional, and if I want to get it off, I'd like to be able to do a little something. So, and then I've got friends. I mean, he plays a little bit. We've got a partner that plays a lot. But one of our employees, I didn't know this about this employee, but he's like, "Oh, yeah, you mind if I'm like, "Yeah, have at it, man. They're for everybody to use. Come in, have at it, right?" So he I knew as soon as he put his foot up on the table, he held it like he knew how to hold a guitar.
Yeah.
And he just like banged it out and starts singing, belting out singing. And he's like, oh, I'm a little rusty. It's been a while. I'm sitting there going, fuck you. Fuck you. You're not allowed to play my guitar anymore. Don't take it off.
You're making me feel like shit. I didn't know that thing could make that kind of sound.
So I was blown away. I was like, but that's that muscle memory. Like he did it for so long.
Yeah.
He just picks it back up without. I mean, he said it'd been years. And I mean, like I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, something to look forward to.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. One day having a guitar and then somebody picking up my guitar and then just doing so much better than I ever could have.
Oh, I'm a little rusty.
Yeah.
I've known some really talented people too that just never pursued it.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me. It's like you have this incredible talent, and you do nothing with it.
Like
Why?
go play at a bar or
Do
something.
anything.
Yeah. Let
Yeah.
somebody hear this
Use
magic.
that ability. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I miss that shit, by the way. I miss it.
Yeah.
I was in Vegas, and I used to miss all the everywhere, man. Just like nightlife. I miss like a performance. I miss entertainment. I miss these. I'm just so fucking ready for it to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling him earlier, Jesse, I was telling him that, we were talking about, I think once the dust clears on this and everything gets back to normal, maybe, I mean, I don't know when it's going to be, it could, people are saying this summer, or, second half of next year, maybe, who knows what's going to happen.
It'll be this year sometime.
Yeah. Or, like the
Later
first full
this
year
year.
we have, like 2022,
Yeah.
where it's like, where you can have live entertainment. I feel like all these entertainment venues are going to have, whereas you have a venue that maybe hosted, a few big concerts a month, it's going to be like every night because all these bands, everybody's going to want to, it's like with comedy, everybody's going to want to be touring.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, I can tell you in
It'll be a
Vegas.
good time for it. Yeah.
I think
Vegas
it's going to be a boom for it.
Sure.
Definitely. Vegas is, definitely one of the entertainment capitals of the United States, right? I can tell you everything they've booked is in 2022.
Yeah.
Everything. Every single poster, every single sign, every casino I talked to, my hosts, they were so uncertain. There's a question mark for this year. They didn't want to put the funding and the effort behind marketing it.
Yeah.
And they were fairly certain that by 2022, that basically next year, that we would be out of this.
I think that's what's going to happen.
So that's where they've scheduled and they've started to meet some big names, and they start early next year.
Well, it's like, even if, like, let's just say you're a band and you want to do a big tour this summer, that's something you've got to start working on right now.
Yeah.
If you're going to tour this summer, probably sooner.
Yeah.
So with the big question mark looming, it's, what you can't really put that stuff together, even if we physically can do those things this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess with comedy it's a little easier, but
Yeah. I mean, it depends because, like, there's some venues that are open now and they're pretty much running like they were before the pandemic.
Yeah.
But, I've done a lot of I've done less road dates this past year, obviously. I've done some, but everybody's taking it the severity of it in different levels. Like some clubs are like being like super stringent about making sure everybody's separated and everybody's wearing their mask and they've got plexiglass everywhere and all this stuff. And then there's some clubs that are just whatever. Yeah. So it's like and I've some of those clubs I've stood outside until it's time to go on stage. Just, yeah. I was like, oh, they don't give a shit here, man.
What was your most recent show?
Let's see. I've been off for the last 5 weeks, which is the longest period I've had since the lockdown.
Wow.
But yeah, as far as like shows like that, I had one in like the 13th and 14th. It was like a local show in Mooresville.
Oh, in Mooresville?
Yeah, and then I did Myrtle Beach the week before that.
That's where I live, man.
Oh, really?
I should have checked that
nice.
out. Yeah.
All the way from here, man. That's pretty interesting.
I commute every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, Mooresville's like, what, only an hour or so?
I'll
So
say
it's not-
thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What's the story on that?
a long one.
Oh, okay.
It's not a funny one.
Yeah.
Nah, not funny, but it's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like Mooresville, man. I like the area there. But where'd you perform at in Mooresville? You remember the name of the spot?
It was a Comedy Zone room. It was like,
Oh yeah.
It was like more like the one-nighters they
Yeah.
have, but it was a two-nighter and a one-nighter type place. But it was a good little room. It was a bar, 158 on Main, I think was it.
I know exactly where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it was. But yeah, like everybody. But then there's some clubs that are open like normal, like nothing's happened, and then there's some that can't open yet. Have been closed for almost a year now.
Yeah.
And then, but I'd say the majority of them are doing like
Whatever the
or
legal
some
capacity is.
yes, yeah, whatever, depending on the state and local
Right, yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
it's so varied that it's like
Yeah.
I've been able to book a lot of stuff in the South, but
Yeah.
up in the Midwest and the North, it's like they're not playing with it as much.
Now I'll tell you, when
so-
I was in Florida, I mean, I don't want to get down this controversial path that I'm tiptoeing in, but I'll tell you, while I was in Florida, I felt many times in different places, I felt normal.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you know,
Florida is and that's where a lot of my work has been this past year and coming up. Everything I have on the books now is Florida.
Yeah.
In the next few months, because there's no restrictions down there.
Yeah.
Didn't you go out to like Oklahoma or something?
Yeah, I go out to I do the Looney Bins out there in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and then they have one in Wichita and Little Rock, and you can do them together. So you can just make one trip out there. So it works out pretty good, back-to-back weeks. But yeah, it's such a weird thing now to just have all these clubs that are just completely dark for a year.
Yeah, yeah. What's the main comedy scene in Florida?
Orlando's got a pretty good one.
I've heard Miami's weird.
Yeah, there's not any actual clubs, I don't think, no, there's the Miami Improv, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I don't know a ton of comics out of Miami.
Yeah.
There's a pretty big scene in South Florida, like the other side of it.
Oh, St.
the Gulf
Petersburg.
side.
Yeah, like going down through Tampa, down to that whole
St.
Naples
Petersburg,
to Tampa corridor.
Yeah, Naples, yeah.
Yeah, Jacksonville's got a pretty decent one. So, yeah, it just depends. It seems like now every major city has a decent comedy scene at it now, and I think that's where it's headed.
Yeah.
You know, because New York is
Yeah.
everybody I know that moved to New York's back here.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know that moved to LA is back here. You know, there's a few people.
A lot of people moving to Austin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chicago. Yeah, I think the future is going to be Austin.
LA is still going to be. LA and New York are always going to be.
for sure.
big.
They're gonna take a hit because of this, but they're not going.
New York
anywhere.
they just announced they're bringing it back, or bringing back their live performances and stuff. They're going to start with doing a lot of outdoor venues.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's good.
I mean, I think it's got to happen at some point for sure.
I'll tell you, in Mooresville, I'd love to see the new number on it, but I've been told by many, many realtors in that area, and also some contractors that I know that build houses on the lake, and they've been getting people from New York, predominantly New York, several from California, that they've bought up all the inventory, all the supply. They're buying houses sight unseen at one point from New York.
Oh yeah,
Sight unseen, never seen the house, buying a $3 million house and moving here from New York.
Oh yeah, well,
like left and right, like the market went crazy.
yeah,
But so I get it, and New York will recover, but they lost a lot of people.
yeah. It's going to take a few years before.
I think so.
But I think because of the way everybody's so connected through the internet and stuff and social media, in a lot of ways, I don't know if you necessarily have to move to New York and LA anymore. I don't think you do, because I've seen plenty of people that didn't.
Yeah.
That are doing it.
I think the benefit there is just doing the open mics. That's the only problem here is you've got the Idiot Box, which is the comedian's comedy club, right?
Yeah.
And they do three mics a week usually, but there's nowhere else to go. Like there's
I was curious, what it probably isn't one, but is there any thing going on in Atlanta or Georgia?
Yeah, Atlanta's got a
yeah.
pretty good scene. That's what I think. I think like scenes like Atlanta and like Nashville, Austin,
Right.
Yeah.
Your smaller scenes like DC, like Atlanta, Charlotte,
Charlotte's a good, yeah.
Yeah, all these smaller scenes in the South are really picking up. So I think we're gonna see a big shift towards people just staying in a moderately sized city rather than these huge metropolises like New York and LA.
There's I'm going to say large. It's not really large, but there's a big event, a Dave Ramsey event I'm going to in Nashville in May, middle of May, I believe. And I'm hoping that by then I really want to. I'm going to check out a different music venue every night. I want to do all these different. I'm hoping.
Dude, go to Zany's, dude.
Go to Zany's.
Zany's is one of the best comedy clubs in the country.
Yeah,
hands down, man. Maybe the world. It's so good. Yeah,
that's what I'm so looking forward to.
Have they
this
rebuilt
trip.
it?
Oh, because
hit by a truck.
somebody drove a truck through it, it's because
A dump
when
truck.
you do Zany's, the green room. You go down this hallway that's next to the kitchen. You can enter through the back and you just walk right into the green room, and there's the kitchen on the other side. But you walk through in the green room. The green room's set up so you just open a door on the other side of the green room, and you're out on stage. So you walk directly on stage from the green room, and the truck hit the wall right in the area, like maybe like the 2 steps where you walk out from the green room onto the stage. So there was just this big hole.
And there was a nice mural that had just been painted. I'm pretty sure one of the famous
was it
artists from Greensboro painted that.
Jeks.
Jeks, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So in Mooresville, they had a vehicle, a truck, drive through one of the bars.
Oh no!
Right, and I thought this was really funny. Afterwards, they put up a sign and it said, huge big banner. It said, "No drive through."
That's great.
I was like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
It
works.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that trip to Nashville. Actually,
yeah, Nashville's a cool town, man. Like, there's so many cool towns.
And then we roll straight from Nashville. We got to go to Miami. We got an event at Miami. Literally, I'm going to finish the. Dave Ramsey's a specific type of. I don't necessarily agree with everything, but I like a lot of what he talks about, and a lot of the motivation, a lot of positivity, a lot of things. But there are some things that I differ with him on. Right, that's okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to a completely opposite event in Miami. Literally, 2 days later. So it's gonna be interesting. So it's like.
You driving or you fly?
Fly. Oh yeah, I gotta fly. Yeah, yeah. It's too much. Normally, the old me would have drove.
I could have made that.
You could have done it. Yeah. The old me would have drove, but
Yeah, it's
5-6 hours is like my max.
Really?
If it's 5 or 6 hours, typically I'll drive it, because if it's less than that, because of just shit happens with flights, because I fly a lot.
Yeah.
If it's less than that, you'd think it's faster by plane, but it's not. By the time you get to the airport, I'm TSA pre-check and all that, but and then layovers, and then just travel.
Well, yeah, that's sort of me too. Is like, I drive because 1, it makes a lot more financial sense. 2, I know what I am, and I know nobody wants to sit on a plane with me. I don't want to sit on a plane with me. It's hella uncomfortable.
Yeah. You know what they should do?
What?
Honestly, and I've dropped 100 pounds approximately, but I'd be fine. Put all the fat people together.
Yeah.
Put me with them. I mean, because we all know.
Yeah.
We all know.
We'll all just cuddle.
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly.
Yeah,
like
big old bear hug.
Exactly. We're gonna have to redirect some of the AC.
You made it more
to that area. But yeah, man, we'll just curl in there together, man.
Maybe widen the seats a tiny bit.
That would be awesome.
It doesn't have to be a lot, but just so you're a little more comfortable. I think
a little bit.
Yeah, get a fat people section.
Exactly,
Screw this
man.
buying 2 seats thing.
Yeah.
Just have the fat people section.
And by the way, just
Use it for balance.
yeah.
It's weight management.
But how about this? How about a seat that the middle divider is not fucking permanent? By the way, you ever been in a seat that
like a movie theater? Like
yeah,
where
man.
You can
Like
lift up the
like there's
together.
nobody next to me, but I can't pull the armrest.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
You may lose an arm with that big cart coming through the middle of the
I like to splay out a little
Yeah,
bit,
me
you
too.
know,
I do. I've got it down to a science, though. I typically fly first class now, but if I don't, I got it down to a science. Like, I want to be in the bulkhead. Hey, are you in an event of emergency? Can you save people? Oh yes, definitely. And I just spread out, man.
But you're not going to save anybody.
Is that called manspreading?
Manspreading?
A manspread, man.
I had them.
That's going to be.
They actually tried to move me out of the bulkhead one time.
Oh yeah.
A few years ago,
What'd you do?
Because I have a prosthetic leg.
Oh.
And
so they insulted you.
Yes. And she's like, I'm sorry, sir, you can't sit here because you have a prosthetic leg. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like,
Look
well,
at the ableism.
if there's,
Can't save somebody's life with a prosthetic leg.
she's like, if there's an emergency, you won't be able to help people. I was like, listen, I can do more than you can do. and you're discriminating
Oscar Pistorius
against me.
can murder his girlfriend with a prosthetic leg. You can save a life.
That's right.
I was like,
We had a similar thing happen at the bank. You remember this?
Yes.
We were opening an account, and I don't remember it verbatim, but basically, Neil asked about going to the bathroom, and the banker looks at him and goes, well, it's upstairs.
well, okay.
Like, he couldn't go up the stairs. And I started in on him. I was like, man, this guy could take that leg up and hop up faster. I started, like, just over and over and over. I was
like you got to crawl up
Yeah.
the stairs
Right.
or something.
well, it's upstairs.
Yeah.
He's like, that's okay.
It works pretty well.
And mind you, by the way, you got to think from my perspective, especially at that point, like he's taking me hiking and he's having to walk slow so I can keep up. Like, it's super physical
It's
condition.
an advantage.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, it's not an advantage.
Not an advantage. Yeah. I don't know.
It's an
the
advantage for
original
me.
was way better than the new hardware.
Yeah.
It's an advantage for me. Like, it's my form of handicap. Like, you know how when you bowl and you get a handicap to help you? Yeah, his leg is a handicap for me.
But
in a
I would
positive way.
imagine you don't get. I mean, maybe you get it more in the upper leg, but if you get it, you probably don't get as much fatigue.
It gets real sore, like where it goes in the socket when I hike and
Ah,
stuff
yeah.
because of sweat.
Yeah.
If my leg didn't sweat, it would be comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, pretty comfortable. I have a high pain tolerance anyway, but yeah, I mean, it works really well. I mean, I can do pretty much anything I did before, but it's just a little bit more annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably be willing to wager your prosthetic leg probably is a lot in better shape and easier to live with than my fat legs. These morbidly obese cankles. You could probably get up the mountain a lot quicker than I can.
He'll probably carry you up the mountain. Like literally, I felt like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you know how
I
demoralizing.
don't think I can carry Ben.
Not
No, I don't think anybody can.
not intentionally, but
may
it was.
be able to
It
do
was
that.
I can carry you. I can rack you. I don't know about up a mountain, but I can carry you. Yeah, I'm a big guy.
Oh, okay.
You gotta remember. So, did you ever wrestle or anything in school? Or
Nah, dude.
All right, so check this out, man. We have to. What you used to have to do is you'd have to rack somebody your size. You know, rack like put them on the shoulders, like rack them.
Yeah.
So I'd have to rack you if you were in my weight class, right? Or even within anywhere close to mine. I always got because I'm a big guy. I always got the biggest guy, right? So you could have been 70 pounds heavier than me. I still had to rack you.
Yeah.
And I got a specific friend I'm not going to call out now that I did that with, and I would have to jog around the wrestling room with him on me. Like it just became the thing. But what you figure out over time is it's more so like a balance thing with the weight.
Yeah.
It's figuring out how to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's not the weight; it's that it's awkward. It's like when
Exactly,
you move a piece of
man.
furniture
You're
that's
much
like-
stronger because you're used
Yeah.
to support. You're used to supporting and carrying your body weight. You're much stronger than you think you are.
Yeah.
It's more like a leverage and balance thing, right? So you'd be surprised, but yeah, I could rack you.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know.
impressed.
I don't know that we can go
Sounds very explicit.
uphill. Yeah. You ready to get racked? Now, what would be impressive is I can rack you and squat, but I don't squat yet, so we'll see. We'll save that for the next episode. Hold up.
So what? Back to comedy. What got you into comedy?
Well, it's weird. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey circus clown up until about middle school. And somewhere along the way, that became stand-up comedy because I just started watching comedy on TV, like Comedy Central and stuff. And I was like, oh, I really like stand-up comedy. And it was like my desire to make people laugh went from being a clown to which I guess is a comedian's a clown for adults.
Right. Yeah. More like a jester.
In some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm basically doing what I always wanted to do, which is travel around and make people laugh. Just instead of like children and families, it's drunks in a comedy club. So.
Well, how was your family supportive?
Yeah. Like I ended up when I was younger, I started. I had all these problems at school. Well, not at school so much, just doing my schoolwork, but I had all these problems at home and all these mental issues and stuff. So they couldn't ever get me to do my assignments at school. So the way they would get me to do my work is they would be like, all right, well, if Ben does his work in class, last 5-10 minutes, he can entertain the class.
Oh, nice.
So I'd write these little sketches. I did a Richard Simmons impression.
That's
and
awesome.
a George W. Bush impression.
Your teacher nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That teacher
Absolutely.
deserves that. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well,
great.
it was all the teachers because
That's
they
awesome.
had to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
But yeah.
Hey, Thomasville's good for something.
Yeah, I was a special case. This kid's not going to graduate unless we give him his 5 minutes.
That's incredible, though.
Yeah, man. I actually like that a lot.
How old were you then? Like 15 or something? 14, 15?
I was probably more middle school.
Yeah.
They really didn't have
wow.
as much of a tolerance for it in high school as much.
Yeah.
When you're still young, and have to
So 12, 13.
it's like a piece of candy for me. It's like, oh yeah, he can do his little thing, and sometimes I'd fucking kill. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to brag or anything, but age 12, I was slaying them.
You were slaying other 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I was the Rodney Dangerfield of lead for middle school.
That's funny.
That's good shit.
And if the teacher laughed, you had something really good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I said some shit in high school, and the teachers laughed, and then I still got in trouble, though.
Yeah.
Like I said it, they laughed a lot.
Accidentally.
Yeah, it was definitely accidental.
Isn't that the best?
And then it was just like, I had one teacher specifically. It was just like, and I knew, because she had told me so many times, just principal's office, just Just go.
That's
right?
funny.
I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but did you guys ever have like a teacher in school that like was a good teacher, but they always were the one to make the comment that was not appropriate?
Yeah, oh yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like that would be funny as hell. Like I remember one time we were they had like some school assembly, and it was like they had this like, I don't know if you ever heard of them, but this like thing called the power team. That's like these big strong dudes.
Yeah.
And like they go to churches and stuff. And like it's like more of like a Christian message, but when they do schools, it's like they rip these phone books in half.
I was going to say the phone books,
Yeah,
man.
they blow up like a hot water balloon. And
Yeah.
there's like, it's like, I hate when people commit suicide. Makes me so mad. They just rip it. Like, so they have to change their message because of separation of church and state. Or I was sitting in the I was sitting in the assembly when the guy was ripping the phone book, and at the end of the assembly, he was talking about, it was like, I'm 24 years old and I'm proud to say I'm still a virgin. And I heard the art teacher behind me go, that's probably, he could probably still rip a phone book with his bare hands.
That's awesome.
That's good shit.
I was like, yeah. But I always love, like, I had a few teachers like that were just like,
Yeah.
The teachers that actually treat you as a more
like
mature,
an adult.
like an adult. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach Dubas, that was one.
Oh,
Shout out
yeah.
to Coach Dubas. I don't know.
I had a coach. I didn't play
Couple of coaches,
sports
yeah.
in schools I worked, but he was like our weight training.
Yeah.
coach, whatever.
Several of those guys. Coach Neal.
And
all those
he
guys,
was cool. Like we would just hang out with him
Yeah.
in class.
Yeah.
have normal adult conversations in high school.
It was so cool, man. When the coaches, like when they were dating like girls my age, I thought that was awesome. You know, we just hang out and they'd.
yeah. And it is definitely not awesome.
No, I'm just, I'm just kidding.
No, that's,
bad
yeah.
joke. Bad joke.
Oh, yeah.
No, seriously though, one of my favorite teachers, Miss Carroll. Shout out to Miss Carroll. She didn't take no shit. That's why I liked her.
Yeah.
She had a set of balls on her. No offense, Miss Carroll, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
just was like she could take it because I gave a lot of shit.
Yeah, that one like little old lady that could burn shit
Oh,
down,
bro,
you know?
man,
Like,
she was awesome. She took no shit, gave zero fucks, and like highly intelligent. She like dialed me in, but she would deal with my shit to an extent, but she would redirect me, like kind of like your redirection. I had a little, you know, I had some anger stuff going on and some different things, right? And so she'd be like, she wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
She would like, she'd go get me out of other people's classes, come sit me in her class and be like, basically like sit there and shut the fuck up. And
You're
then,
saying I couldn't do a set at the end of her class.
oh, bro. I mean, she was cool though.
Yeah.
She was cool, but she just was. I don't know how to explain it. Like she was.
We had a teacher kind of like that.
Yeah, she was hard, but she'd let you do some shit though, and it wasn't go to the principal's office.
Yeah, that was. I spent most of my 10th grade English year in the hallway because I had a teacher like that.
Yeah.
Me and a couple of my other friends that were all mischievous were in the same class, and we were in trouble all the time. And instead of sending us to the office or suspending us or giving us ISS, she'd just make us sit in the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, just go up there.
Yeah,
It's
she-
like
go
when
home.
you're like a little kid, they make you stand in the corner or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the kid that stands in the corner is the one that stands in the hallway later in life. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I couldn't get down with was just asking permission to go to the bathroom. Like
I know,
that was where I
it
ran
made
into a
no
lot of
sense,
issues.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I had
I'm
a
like,
problem
look,
with that, too.
Like it's happening whether
Yeah.
you want it to or not.
I had to get
it
up,
can
right.
be here, it can be over there.
Yeah, well, how do we know if you're abusing it? I'm like, if raising my
matter.
hand means I'm not abusing it versus me just getting up to go piss, like that's not a clear separation. Like I'm getting up to go piss because I got to go piss, right? Like I didn't want to ask, and so they would say you need to ask to the bathroom, and I'd be like, okay, and I would just go.
Do you
And
have
then-
to ask to go to the bathroom?
Yeah,
Is that like what?
Or where they do that thing where it's like, can I go to the bathroom? What do you mean, may you go to the
Oh, I
bathroom?
hate that
was
shit.
like,
Yeah.
"Ah."
So now, Je voudrais aller à la salle de bain. I still remember in French, can I go to the bathroom? Because that French teacher was such a
She made you ask to go to the
In
bathroom
French.
in French. Yeah.
in French.
Wow.
So it became a joke. I would just ask every day. Like I mean, like no matter what, I'd get there. We'd be 15 minutes in the class. And I'd say I need to get. And she would. Now, to her credit, the very first day I got removed from one of my best friend's mother's Spanish class, and got put into Miss Lemon's class. And the very first day she said, "What should we call you?" And I was like, "Fifi dog," right? So she called me Fifi all throughout high school. She ran into me. This has been a few years now. She ran into me, and she's like, "Fifi dog." She's still trolling me. I was like, I fucking love you. Like that's awesome.
That's a lady that remembers. It's always
Exactly,
impressive when
man.
somebody that has taught that many kids.
Yeah.
Can remember.
Yeah.
No, what that means is I was memorable.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, my teachers remember me. So
You were something to write home about.
Yep. So, but anyway, yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, I hated that shit. I don't know. I know a teacher that offended more people than anybody else. Mr. Marlowe.
Oh, really?
Speaking of going to the bathroom.
There you go. Mr. Marlowe, like 7th or 8th grade. Yeah, go ahead, buddy. But I think he's an 8th grade teacher, but Mr. Marlowe, that dude offended. He would get so upset, but he offended so many people. So many people.
Yeah.
Low key, and I don't want to call him out. I mean, I felt like the 8th grade version of me felt like he was a racist as well. So
yeah,
but
I feel like there's some of those types of people do get into the educational system.
Yeah.
Like you ever have like a teacher that I had like a history teacher that he had this weird fascination where anytime there was somebody in history that was rumored to have been gay, he always made a point to mention it. Like Napoleon Bonaparte, rumored homosexual. Every single person that had any sort of like gay rumors about him, he had to make a point to mention it. It was weird.
Well, was he trying to make people feel like more comfortable, or was he trying to say?
I think he just wanted to say it.
Yeah.
I think that's funny, actually. See, I had a good time with some of that stuff, man. Some of those teachers. See, I loved a good teacher made it work, man. Like, I don't know, maybe 90% of my teachers. I mean, it wasn't that I hated them, but I felt like I hated them, right?
Yeah.
That 10% is why I stayed. And I mean, I was highly intelligent. I did very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
I just hated it. I hated that it was too much structure, too much confined.
That was me too. It's
Yeah.
like on the tests, and like if when they did like my testing in kindergarten to see like where they sort of place where you are in the head as a kid. You're like oh like academically gifted, but it's like he doesn't do homework at all.
Yeah.
Who does?
He just refuses not to. Well, see, like they screwed up when I was like in middle school. They made the mistake of telling kids that part of the curriculum was you had to pass math and English, and you had to pass either science or social studies. Well, they should have never told me that.
Right.
Because I gave minimal effort to social studies, and I just completely didn't do anything in science. I did just enough to pass.
Yeah.
And it was so bad, like in my science class, like the teacher just wouldn't even hand me the assignments anymore. He's like, he's not going to do them. And I was like, I just straight up boycotted, which is a real slacker thing to do. It's like, I'm just not going to even try at all because I don't have to.
Yeah. Damn.
That was always me. Like I was just such a slacker. Like I could have done better, Like I'd do these projects like in school, and like it would be like one I'd have to really do. Like we had to do this one project where it was like you had to like find different songs that were related to historical events.
Oh, I did
so
that.
Like
yeah.
so
that
like,
was science, you said?
It was like U.S. history.
U.S.
later,
history.
It was later in school, and I was like, and like I started on it like the night before. You had to like pick like 15 songs, and you had to write an explanation as to how it related to history or whatever. So, like Scorpions, Wind of Change or whatever you wrote, like about the Berlin Wall falling or something. So
I was there when the Berlin Wall came down, by the way.
Were you really?
Yeah, we lived. My dad's in the army. We were stationed there. Yeah,
that's nuts, man.
I got a piece of it at my house. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
I think I was a fetus at that point.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I think I was like 4. I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're you're not that much older than me. So, but like I would start like the night before, but I'm a fantastic writer. So like I just banged out these things, but I only got like 5 of them done, and I'd get like a better grade than the kids that like tried really hard for 3 weeks because they couldn't write the explanations. Yeah. And everybody was mad because like Ben didn't even do his project. He didn't even do all the songs. And he was like, yeah, but he
nailed it.
He nailed the part that he did. So.
Yeah. So Miss Baxter, 6th grade science, right? Miss Baxter, Miss Houston was my English teacher. Those stood out to me. But you were talking about the song, right? A song was something. So I remember to this day, Miss Baxter, she gave us like a range, and I had to find music that matched, that was about science, right? And I ended up, and she gave us a year range, and I ended up with like Earth, Wind, Fire, like, and I had to write like this little thing while the music was playing in the background, and I mean like I killed it, but it was so it was so like soul crushing. Like I felt like I sold out. I was like, this is fucking this is terrible.
You're like, oh, can we not?
Yeah, like do I have to do this in front of everybody? Like really? Like I was not. And in 6th grade, I wasn't rebellious enough to so I did it, and I regret. I died a little when I did it. Yeah, Miss Douglas in 8th grade science, I believe, made me do something very similar in front of everybody. She's like, "Oh, you'll nail it," and I did it, and I did well, but I still felt a little less manly, less me.
Yeah.
So
I feel like they got you.
they got me,
You've been
man.
had.
Yeah, because I like those teachers. I let them get away with a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I let them.
Yeah. Yeah, you let them. Yeah, you, the student, allowed the teacher to give you those assignments.
That's right. And
It's
let
you
me
were required to do to pass.
Yeah, and let me get up in front of everybody and do it. Yeah. It's funny how I remember it.
Yeah. That's funny.
So what was your first comedy club performance? How old were you, and do you remember it?
17, and it was the Comedy Zone open mic. And when I first started doing open mics at the Comedy Zone, the local host Chris Wiles, he started the open mic there, and it was like a really, like, you go up on a Thursday night, and it was a bringer mic, so the club could support it at the time. That way you'd have an audience, which it sucks as a comic to have to round up 5 friends or whatever, but that's how we did it. And there was a buddy of mine, but every open mic would be like tons of people there, like a weekend show almost. So it was like,
oh wow,
it was like kind of spoiled rotten as far as like open mics go when you're starting. Like,
yeah,
you actually got to perform in front of pretty much a real crowd. It's not
nice.
just sometimes you'll do open mics and it's it's just a room full of comics.
Just all comics.
Yeah,
It's tough.
Exactly.
It's hard, man.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Like.
Which I like that for me because I'm new, so it's been really helpful.
Yeah, but it's sometimes I think that helps you get. It's a better test of the material because comics are harder to make, or people that do comedy are harder to make laugh than people that
it's
are
rough
there to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
But I started doing open mics there. I had a friend, and he wanted to be a comic too, so we were gonna be like comedy brothers, go all the way to the top together, man. So we shared our friends because he allowed us to do that. So we both did the open mics, and it was like the first Thursday or the first 2 Thursdays of every month. We almost didn't make it to my first open mic because he locked his keys in the car, and if he hadn't got his keys out, who knows where I'd be? I may not have even never started doing comedy, but we got there and everything, and I was wearing shorts, which you don't do on stage. There's like one fuzzy picture from it, and I'm wearing shorts, and I'm like, oh, you can't do that now. It's a weird thing. It's like this comedy purist thing, but I had a good enough set to where I thought I did well, but I think I just had a good enough set to where I wanted to do it again. I was willing to do it again. I didn't feel defeated. So I just kept doing them, and then my friend that was doing comedy with me, he kind of just fell off after about 6 months, and I just kept going.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Has he ever done it again or no?
He keeps talking about it. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get back into comedy." I was like, "Dude, it's been
a long time."
Yeah, it's kind of like just starting over.
Yeah.
It's not even getting back into it at this point.
No.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like clean slate.
Yeah, 100%.
How'd you do the first time?
It was okay. I got laughs. It's hard to judge now because I think the material was funny enough. I don't
boners in class and stuff. Just good.
Yeah. I think the first joke I did on stage was I did this bit about I was watching the show on TLC where this guy had this weight loss surgery, and anyway, to get a catheter in for them to do the surgery, they had he had this weird dick. He had some sort of weird growth on his dick. And I did this bit about how this guy and they talk about it on the TLC show. It's about a weight loss surgery, and he's like, they had to operate on Robert's penis because he has this cauliflower-like growth on the end of his cock. And I was thinking about this guy's got to go to church after this. Everybody's watching Robert on television. He's got to go to work, and it was and I was talking about I had this bit about all the people he'd see that people at his.
Maybe his dick did MMA.
Doing a sales promotion, doing a sales presentation at his job, and they're like, According to our graphs here, Robert's penis is severely decreased drastically after they removed that growth or whatever. It's just, yeah. So
I think you nailed it.
It's good material, though.
Yeah.
That's good today. So I like that. Yeah. You may have to revisit that.
Impressive
Like
for a
Robert goes to
17-year-old.
church, like, Lord, we just ask that you take Robert's penis in your hand, Lord. Like, that was what the from it.
I like that. So you had mentioned Chris Wiles. I was literally getting ready to get up and take a piss break. I was like, I gotta pee. And then you said Chris Wiles. I was like, I gotta put my shit back on.
Yeah.
So like
I've known Chris for many, many years.
That's just why I was gonna ask you. I figured you maybe I'm a huge Chris Wiles fan. Like his little bit, that one that he did about Mickey, like in Disney, and here, take another up there, like that whole thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
The price of the hot dog, that whole thing. Like every time I'm at Disney, I think of Chris Wiles. There's a lot of stuff that Chris did actually that when I'm out, like in my life, and I remember Chris Wiles' jokes.
Like eating candy like this.
100%, bro.
Can't see Tony Montana without thinking of him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Have you heard from him? You talked to him any?
Yeah, I talked to him like last week actually.
Really? How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's on the ships now, so he.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
he's all the cruise ships. Nothing. Yeah. So everybody's like, it's weird how the comedy business is now. Is because like all these guys are on the cruise ships, they're completely out of work. The college stuff, the college guys that do all the colleges, that stuff's not happening. Corporate stuff's not happening. So you have all these like comics that are in these other sectors of the comedy world. They're like, oh, hope we can get some of these club dates that are these limited club dates that are happening now. But he's doing great. You know, he's I'm
gonna have to go check him out. I got to figure out.
Yeah, dude, he still sells out, man.
Yeah, no, he's like, I don't know if it was when I was 13. I'm telling you, like that's one of my. I got to see him again. There's. If I go to Disney and I don't like every day I'm at Disney, I'm like thinking about his joke. Like, and I it's a little graphic, so I'll spare you. And plus, I wouldn't do it justice.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to hear. I don't know if he's still doing that bit, but I love it.
He does it from time to time.
Yeah. It's my shit, man.
But it's wild because like he's like a local celebrity. He's a draw at that club.
And
He was doing it as the MC.
I know.
Is just so,
that's the crazy part, man. He was better. You know how many nights? Because I went there. Sometimes I was there every week.
Yeah.
For months, man.
Yeah.
Like every weekend. Like I was just there all the time. There were nights when he was the best by far. Like just beat the head.
It's an anomaly, man.
Yeah.
He can put on a show there. He does like 2 or 3 shows there a year where he's headlining the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And the whole weekend sells out.
Yeah.
Off of Chris
Wow.
Wiles.
I remember it, man. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway,
does he still live here?
Yeah, he lives in Reedsville. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You got to check him out.
I'm sure I've seen him.
Yeah, he's sort of a.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen him.
A lot of the guys that like started out in this scene, like he really like fostered and mentored.
Yeah.
Coming up, like there was a lot of guys that started that open mic that went on to actually have good careers in comedy, like Anthony Bean, Chico Bean from Wild and Out.
Yep.
Me and him started together.
That's cool.
He was one of the guys at the open mic. Jordan Fisher, he's had a Tonight Show appearance, got a standing O on the Tonight Show.
He started here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he started. Yeah, me and him started together. I think he started like a month before me.
That's cool.
So you're just 1 month away, man.
Yeah. Anytime Jimmy Fallon will be calling.
I don't think that stuff's as big of a deal anymore, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't. Because you think about it, some of these YouTube videos have more hits daily than the Tonight Show did.
Right. Yeah. Way more. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them have more hits than the Tonight Show did at the peak of time.
Have you ever done a special or anything?
No, I'm wanting to do one though. That's something I've been trying to work on, because I feel like it's one of those things you want to have. You want to have like a record of your stand up.
For sure. Yeah.
So that's one of those things I want to put together. And that was something I was talking about before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, we'll see. Hopefully that happens at some
It'll
point.
happen. I mean,
yeah.
I know you lost a little momentum this year, but I think, like we talked about earlier, I think when things pick back up, it's really going to just go crazy.
Yeah. I think
it's funny because they had the pandemic in 1918
and then the roaring 20s.
And
then a boom.
We just don't want
bust after that. Yeah.
We still want the after, like the 30s.
Yeah.
The Great Depression. Yeah.
So we still got a good decade before things get real, real bad.
Hopefully not. But
I hope not. Yeah.
It could be.
We'll see.
But yeah, I think once things start to get normal and they have good live shows again, I think it's going to be wide open.
Well, yeah, it's like when you take things away from people and then you let them have it again.
Oh, they crave it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So should be really good, hopefully.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to reach a professional level in comedy? What you would consider? I know that's a kind of a gray line, but
well, I think being so young to start with hinders you a little bit, like we were talking about with the life experience thing.
Although it sounds like for your first set you used something that was very relevant to that time. And culture. So it was.
Yeah. So yeah, it does. I did like a lot of self-deprecation stuff. I did a lot less observational stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm more like now I just talk about my life and stuff a lot more. I do some observational stuff, but anyway, what were we talking about?
How long did it take you to get where you consider yourself
level.
Professional? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sort of works like this. You start doing the open mics, and then you get to where you're like, oh, like the guy that's closing out the open mic, or like the guy that's like always does consistently well. And then in most clubs, like Idiot Box is a little different because they operate on a little different format than most clubs. It's more like a local indie club rather than like these clubs where they book like a headliner feature and a host every weekend.
Yeah.
But usually, like you start doing one of the open mics, and then you might get offered a chance to host, and then you host for a while. And I was hosting. I started hosting like 3 or 4 years in, and I started hosting at this club out in Clayton, North Carolina.
Yeah, I know where Clayton is. Yeah.
But it was owned by a guy that was a road comic, and he came off the road, and him and his wife opened up a comedy club, and they kind of gave me the chance to be the house MC there.
Did you move there, or were you living here?
I lived here,
like
but I had a cousin that lived in Clayton.
Oh, okay.
So I would go every weekend for like probably about a year or so.
Yeah.
Or most weekends, I would like go down there for the weekend, and I would do the shows, not get paid anything, but I get valuable experience. Yeah, for sure. That helped me get to a different level. And then I started filling in for Chris when he was on the cruise ships at the Comedy Zone in Greensboro. And then when the Charlotte Comedy Zone opened in 2011, they had like one downtown, but they reopened it after a few years of it not being open, and they moved it to a different location. When that opened, I started being the MC there. I'd be there like once or twice a month. So
nice.
At a certain point, I had like 3 clubs that kind of wanted me to be like their house MC, So I had hosting work.
So you just rotated around.
Yeah, every week, no matter what.
That's awesome.
Like, so it worked out good for me. So I was able to get like a ton of valuable experience because when I was doing like the club in Clayton, the owner was letting me do 15, 20 minutes up front, which is too long for a host.
Right, yes, a lot.
20 minutes is way too much.
Feature set, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But
if it's going well though, people like it. So
so like probably about 2011 or so, I started trying to make a push to get my show together to where I could like get booked at, as a feature and stuff. And you had to have like a half hour at least. I've probably written hours of material, but as far as like stuff I would like do on stage right now, probably like hour and a half. But I've written hours and hours of stuff. Anyway, so I was trying to like make a push because you got to get like a video together so they can see you, send it out to bookers and stuff. So I put that video together. I was able to do that because of those opportunities I had. And then I started, I put together like a press kit and stuff and took it down to the Comedy Zone office down in Charlotte, and they started booking me, and then I was able to get in with other bookers and other clubs, and then it's kind of like a success breeds success thing. Like once other people start booking you, more people will want to book you. So
definitely.
Now, when you do your couple things, when you're emceeing a show, you do like a set up front, and then you can do like a joke before each comic comes out.
Usually when you host, you want to do, if you talk about the Comedy Zone in Greensboro, it's hosted so backwards and differently because of the precedent that Chris Wiles set.
Right.
So that's a different case. So when I would host that room, it was very different.
Yeah.
But for most clubs, like standard, you would go out and, first you want to kind of be a cheerleader a little bit, like, oh, like, welcome to the show. You want to be present.
Yep.
And then you seg into your material. and you do like 10 minutes or whatever, 10, 15 minutes, depends on where you're at. And then, you know, you close out your material, you know, you do a couple announcements, you bring up the next comic. You know, if there's something notable, you might make a comment about it, but you don't want to do much time in between each
Right,
comment.
yeah.
But yeah, that's usually how hosting goes. You just, you know, I think it's one of the most important parts of the show.
I think
Sure, yeah.
Because you're setting the tone for the rest of the
Right.
show. I think hosting and headlining are the two hardest parts of the show, because when you're hosting, you're the first thing they see.
Yep.
You set the tone. You're the host of the party. You're the ringmaster.
Yeah.
All right. When you're featuring, that's usually the cushiest, because all you got to do is be funny.
For 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, usually
20?
it's like half an hour.
Oh, half an hour,
Usually
okay.
most time, that's standard. 20 to half an hour.
All right, is there usually just a feature and a headliner?
Yeah, sometimes there's a guest
Yeah, I was
spot.
A
gonna
guest spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the 15-minute spot, right? The guest spot.
That's usually
10?
like a 5 to 10.
Oh,
It
5,
depends.
okay.
It depends on who's doing it. Like,
Right.
you know, if it's like a local professional, they'll probably do 10. But if it's like if it's like some kid that's just doing well at the open mic, it'll probably be like 5.
Right.
Yeah, and then, you know, in headlining, all the weight's on your shoulders. Like, you got to bring it.
Yeah.
Like, you got to kill it.
Keep the energy high.
Yeah, exactly.
You
like,
remember that guy that had the heads and he did the Galileo? He sung and
Oh yeah.
he would pull.
Talk about Michael Mack.
Mac.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Yes. He slayed several times. He slayed there while I was there. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, he has a very interesting closer, man.
Yeah.
It's something else for sure.
So
Like,
No.
he literally makes his cock sing at the end of his show. not literally, but he
Yeah,
has
yeah,
a
yeah.
cod piece, and it sings.
Oh,
He has it like
wow.
wired to his belt. He has like a puppet. It's like a puppet. It's a cod piece with like a little puppet on the front. It's
Weird, yeah.
yeah, it's wild.
it slays.
Yeah,
Prop comedy.
yeah.
But yeah, no. You know the problem there. Chris ruined it for me at a bunch of other clubs though, because he killed it all the time. I went to other
Yeah.
clubs and I saw their host there, and I was just like,
Yeah, most of the time, I mean, hosting's kind of a lost art in comedy, I feel like, because
I felt like the hosts at some of these other clubs weren't hosts. They were just
Yeah.
somebody that gets up
A
and
lot
talks
of
in a mic
times-
in between people.
I mean, sometimes you go to a club and it's like a decent or a good local comic that might, you know, like in my case, like might just not be working on the road that week.
Right.
But then most clubs, though, it's like just an open micer who's been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, and that can be interesting because a lot of like people that are starting out doing comedy, you know, when you're doing these open mics, there's a lower expectation.
Right.
So it's like, it's people going like, oh, here's these people, they're trying to be funny. You know,
Right.
I paid $5 to get in here, you know, maybe someone will be funny. But like, it's like you go and see a show on the weekend, you know, it's like $20 a ticket or whatever. People are going there like, okay, fucker, make me laugh. So it's like, for a lot of people, like
Yeah.
when they first start
Yeah.
doing professional shows, hosting and stuff, it's like, it's a big mind fuck for them because
Yeah.
they, you know, the expectation is so different. And I've seen people that just come off stage like, oh, this is my first week hosting. I've never hosted before. You got any advice? And then they'll come off stage and they're just sweating bullets. Yeah, because they're used to those jokes getting some chuckles or something. But, you know, at an open mic, they're like, oh, that's a little bit funny. But if you do it at a real show, they're like, you know, look, next.
That's funny.
So.
I feel like at the open mics and the Idiot Box, they're pretty. I mean, they're everybody's pretty honest. Like, if
Yeah.
they like it, they like it. If not, you know, like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
very clear.
Especially now where it's just that's why I
comics,
say it's
yeah.
like it's a
But
better
for me, it's
gauge.
easier when the thing I like about the way it is now is, and even before when I first started, it was still mostly comics there, so it was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And then, but when I get a little, if I got a few chuckles at the open mics, when I did a mic and there was a lot of regular crowd there,
Yeah.
I get a lot of laughs, and I was like, oh, this is good. So to me, it's good. It's like swinging with a lot of bats.
Yeah.
And then you pick up the regular bat, and it's just super light.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a lot easier. So
Yeah.
it's like for me now, I feel like it's way easier when I can perform in front of like a regular crowd,
Yeah.
because I'm used to performing
For
in front
sure.
of guys like you who are just brutal, man, and which is good. I like it.
I try to make sure I laugh at everybody where they have a good joke, you know. Like,
Yeah.
You know, but like for a while that open mic was kind of functioning as a support group.
It
Still kind of does.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. But it's good. Like if I have, maybe I tell 4 or 5 jokes while I'm up, I can tell the ones that are going to do well in front of a regular crowd.
Yeah.
Even if it's just, with comics, you'll get like a couple of audible laughs.
Yeah.
But with a crowd, that would actually be a pretty big roar, and it would keep the energy.
Yeah.
So.
And that's why a lot of times, like a lot of these comics out of New York and LA end up becoming so strong is because, if you're at, if it's not so much anymore because I feel like Comedy Store's built up a lot more. But at one point, if you're going on at 1:30 in the morning at the Comedy Store, that's all it was. It was comics.
Yeah.
You and other comics. And not just other comics, like other really good comics. So
have you performed there?
No, I haven't been out there. I want to go though.
What's the biggest club you've performed in?
The biggest, probably the Stardome in Birmingham, Alabama. It's like 500, 600 seats, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a massive comedy club. The Improv in Raleigh's also a pretty big one. It's like, I think they can seat 600 too.
Oh, nice.
But most big clubs.
And Good Nights up there is a good one too, right? It was about 200, 200 or 300?
Yeah, Good Nights is like 250-ish, I think, 300. Sucks what's happening about Good Nights. Apparently they're in talks to build apartment complexes.
Oh, is it that one?
Yeah.
I thought it was another one.
No, apparently they're talking about demolishing Good Nights and moving it somewhere else.
Oh, man.
Which I think is... hate that idea because like some of these comedy clubs, like if you go to them,
so much history there,
dude, and it's the history, and it's like you'll be standing on a stage, and like I'll do some clubs like the club in Little Rock, the Looney Bin there, like if you go in the kitchen, the guy that's making the mozzarella sticks, he remembers when Dave Chappelle was featuring.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's cool.
Like they can, there's this guy that works there. Like he's been there like 30 years. And he can tell you like all these stories about when Foxworthy used to come in and all their, like Bill Hicks, lived there and stuff. Like,
wow.
Like you're standing on the same stage that Bill Hicks was on. One of your idols. Like it's kind of like.
Which means if you're especially if you're headlining, that you've made it if you're doing that.
Yeah,
right,
yeah. In some sense of the word, yeah. It's I think in a lot of these clubs that are just so old like that date back to like the heyday of stand-up comedy, like your 80s and 90s when it was just a completely different business completely. Like it's like the energy from those roaring laughs are like soaked into the walls.
Yeah.
It's like the room itself has a special energy to it. I'm not one of these energy people, but it's like
I know what you mean though.
There's something special about those places that I don't think you can recreate by tearing it down and moving it across town.
Yeah, then it has that new feel.
Yeah, and Good Nights is one of those places where it's just such a legendary club where it's like, I've never been huge into Good Nights. For whatever reason, that was never the club that I was in super well with. Like I've been on stage there a few times, but I never took the time to cultivate my presence there. But it's one of those clubs that like, in 1988, you'd be like, you'd be watching like Johnny Carson and, there's Jerry Seinfeld talking about doing Good Nights or whatever. It's like, it's such an iconic club, and it's like to build apartment complexes there. It's like,
well, like when they open the new location though, you could be one of the first comics in the new location. That's a big comic down the road for the new guys.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Oh, sure, man.
Yeah. If not, you could rent you an apartment from the old place.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, I could become local.
Yeah, you could tap. Maybe you could tap into that.
I'll get the energy at home.
Yeah.
Like an Indian burial ground type thing.
So, who's the biggest act you've opened for?
Let's see. Biggest. Rob Schneider's one of the ones. I've done a bunch of people. They vary in fame, like Gilbert Gottfried, Adam Devine. That's who I worked with at Zany's.
Nice.
Like John Reap, Tom Green, Jamie Kennedy, Harry Spears. There's a bunch of
Lots of them, yeah.
And then there's like some that are like comedy famous, but are not really. But
Tom Green's really funny. He's a really funny stand-up.
He's a lot of fun to hang out with too. He's pretty cool.
Sure.
He's very just laid back and stuff. Like, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he seems very real.
So
So
I got to tell you this. In my teens, I'm not going to tell you what type of activity, but I got to hang out and party with some comedians many times, too many times. I had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
I had those groups were a blast. I'm not gonna put anybody on blast, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine some of your stories.
We can be fun for sure. Yeah, but yeah, it's like being famous. Just like I like seeing it from that close of a perspective makes me not want to be famous. Like it's just such.
Well, it's kind of a side effect though of the work, right?
Yeah, it is. It just I feel
well
like it sucks so much though. It's like you'll watch people like I'll be selling like merch next to people, and you got to remember like most people don't know how to behave around celebrity.
Yeah,
you know, like it's the vast majority of people. So it's like people are just get super like
just so excited,
aggressive, and like want to talk your ear off. And it's like, and it's fine when you're selling merch after the show, but you realize like these people have to go through an airport to get here. You know, they have to get an Uber, or they have to go sit down at a restaurant sometimes. And it's just like when you see like all these celebrities like flipping out and stuff, like even like the lower level ones that I've been around, like I can't imagine these A-listers because it's such a burden. Like being rich is cool. Being rich and famous has its downsides. Being famous plain sucks. Like I think that's what it's worse for. Is
Especially
like,
if you're famous and not rich.
Yeah, like it's like
well, that would be
there's
worse.
people that
That'd
are
be the
just
worst.
on the news and they
Yeah.
for some reason and they get famous and it's just like their life is screwed for it. You know, like like
for a while.
Yeah,
That's temporary though.
yeah. So is fame. You know,
Yeah,
you gotta
well-
maintain it. You know.
Some of them though, they stay there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
But
it's
I
like-
think their attitude has a lot to do with how it affects them too, though. If they're appreciative,
Yeah,
they have a good attitude, I think it benefits them.
because there's like some celebrities I've worked with, and they're like definitely they're very appreciative of what they've had,
Right.
the
Yeah, yeah.
success they
Yeah.
had. Like, hey, I was on a show for a while, it did well, it got canceled. You know, I'm still famous. I'm not as famous as I used to be. I can sell the club out most clubs out on the majority of weekends. You know, I make a good living from this. They're like, I'm happy it happened. And then there's some that
They feel special.
that are like, why am I not famous anymore? Why am I not as big as I was on Mad TV 10 years ago? You know, you know, like,
Right.
so yeah, I think it's all in the perspective, I think, about how you handle it.
Yeah.
The attitudes, which we've seen people that have done very well and became really cocky and kind of get that God mentality. And we've seen other people that it didn't really affect them at all. So
The first time, I didn't go to that extent. I think the first time I did, I was doing well. You don't just become wealthy, right? Like there's a lot that goes into it. Everybody sees the wealth and the success. They don't see everything else.
That's the first time
It's
they
like
notice
fame,
you.
too.
That's the only time they notice you at that point, right?
Yeah.
But I think pre-25, 25 and under, with considerable resources versus today, night and day, two different people, right?
Yeah.
But still a good person, right? Both people were good people, but that person was a little bit more. I don't want to say.
I think it's
What's a good way to describe it?
overconfident, maybe.
Yeah.
But you were never cocky though. You weren't an asshole or anything.
No.
Because we've both had big losses in the past.
Yeah.
We've also both done very well. He's done better than I have, but but going through those big losses though, I always appreciated everything anyway because I was poor growing up. So anything I did or accomplished, I felt really thankful for it and appreciative. I never felt better than other people. But at the same time, I took myself way too seriously a lot of times, and getting slammed really put some perspective.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
It gave
Nothing
me
like having
perspective.
your ass kicked a little bit.
That's
Right,
good.
yeah.
Let's go.
And then I lost my leg too during that same period, which
Yeah.
helped even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I'm good with whatever. I know I'm not
He's like,
important.
He definitely.
Let's slow it down.
Yeah,
a bit.
Yeah. I'm just good. I'm just good to be alive.
You know, one of the best things about getting to a position where you can help other people, it's not selfless. It's kind of selfish actually to help other people because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, not for everybody, I don't think.
It makes me feel
For
good.
me, it does. Yeah.
Like if I'm having a bad day, like I legit turn into a socialist. Like I'm
You just want to help everybody.
yeah, man, I want to help
Yeah.
everybody. Like my coffee is $4 and I'll give you a $20 bill, or at McDonald's, or the homeless people. I know they don't want the food most of the time; they just want the money. But I have the food and I put the money on top.
He just gives them a big bag of heroin.
And heroin,
just like,
needles. You know, like I'm
It's
all
just
about
a never-ending cycle.
yeah,
That's-
man.
that's
Like
the
I
problem.
pack, I do backpacks for kids over the weekends for food, and I do fresh needles and condoms and stuff for the homeless. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just trying.
Yeah.
You know, and some Gatorade. They need to hydrate up.
Donate
I doubt they're wearing
some
condoms.
and needles to the local youth program. You know, looking out for the future of America.
Doing a lot of work with unwed teen mothers. You know, just where I can. You know, just helping. I was in Colorado and like literally I had like this little care kit, and it was like I literally made a ton of bags. And it was like Gatorade, condoms, like just like various things, like you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like handing them out and a little bit of money, because if you don't have the money,
people like cash.
yeah, homeless people.
Yeah.
I'm not. In my experience, most homeless people they sometimes have a little shit-eating look if you give them food.
Yeah.
But if you give them food or a bag or you can give them anything you want. If there's $1 on top, $5, whatever, any money on top, and they're like thankful as hell.
Yeah,
Yes.
usually if it's real homeless people, they like the
$5
food.
and a
Yeah.
McRib, hell yeah.
Yeah. But
Limited time only.
yeah. And if you guys are ever Clutch is in Mooresville now, as in Greensboro, Winston, but in Mooresville, at my place, like I take care of the Clutch girls and guys there.
Oh yeah.
Right, because they make me feel good every morning with my coffee when it's right, and so I'll do stuff for them. But doing nice shit for people makes you feel good.
Oh,
Yeah.
certainly.
For
yeah.
me,
I bought a homeless lady a gift card at IHOP in Miami one time.
oh yeah,
And it was like I just gave her a $20 gift card, and she was clearly like super homeless.
Yeah.
So she probably lived outside the IHOP. And
I don't like pancakes. Was she appreciative?
she sold the gift card to some other people right in front of me.
Oh.
I was like, oh wow, I didn't see that one. I didn't see that one.
hey,
It
she's a
would've saved
hustler.
you like 5 minutes up at the counter.
And she probably sold it for half what it was too.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
because I don't think you can. There's much of a market for scalping gift cards.
No, yeah.
Like,
Hey, I got a $20 gift card, $10, $10.
Yeah.
Two needles.
But right in front of me and my wife, and I was like, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? She's a hustler. I like
She
it.
should have just been honest with me, like, hey, I just want to buy drugs. Can you just give me some money? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? That kind of goes a long way with.
I
me
eat
now.
IHOP for free out of the dumpster. I don't need that gift card.
Right.
They throw away all kinds of shit every. Yeah, because I think you definitely want to do nice things for people, but it is always interesting when they want to be like, I don't want your sandwich, or whatever.
Oh, I've had that happen. And the old me I'd get a little irritated. But here's what I do to keep that from happening. Like I'm overly like I'm like, out of respect for them, I go, you know what? They don't know where this food's coming from. I'll say, hey, this is steak and chicken from Kambudo's. There's rice. There's silverware in the bag, and there's a $20 bill on top.
Yeah.
Hope you have a great evening. And I'm like literally.
And then they go, are they your leftovers, or did you buy it just for me? I don't want leftovers. It's COVID. I don't want
I have yet to have that happen, but I now in Colorado, a lot of great homeless guys in Colorado that I really kind of like bonded with. I would order them pizzas. Like I'd see them, I'd get off, and I'd have like 2 or 3 pizzas, and I'd take them to pizzas and stuff. And like I'd actually got to a point where I'd like hang out and laugh with them, and you know, like very lightly, but you know, it was kind of cool. They were just people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
because like everybody
they're-
that's out on the street has a story.
Nah, man,
Like they're, you know, it's like that old adage where like people talk about you're a lot closer to being a homeless guy than you are to being a billionaire.
Yeah.
People just don't realize that. I don't think
It's true, yeah.
man.
The construct is fragile.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, I think too, man. I think sometimes people forget to treat other people like a human.
Absolutely.
Well, the homeless thing too. A lot of homeless people have
Yeah.
mental health issues, like
Yeah.
severe ones, and
Yeah.
we don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Everybody complains about it, but nobody solves the problem. And there's
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of homeless people.
And
in
now
the
we
US.
got it like to where you can't sleep on a bench anymore in a lot of cities because they'll put like spikes down. So it's
Well,
it
we've
makes it
talked about
impossible.
how we should just all agree as a society to build these tiny home communities
Sure.
just for people
Yeah.
like for
Yeah.
just people that are just wanderers, just people
Yeah.
that want to.
Yeah.
And everything
way.
would get better because of that.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
100%.
you could have clinics in those communities to help those people. Little
Yeah.
medical clinics where they could get maybe mental health assistance and medical
Yeah.
help.
Because
And it would be I don't think it would be that. I don't think the cost would be that tremendous.
Well, that's one of those things. Like
there's a cost to not fixing it too.
I think there's a bigger cost to not fixing
exactly.
it.
So I think that it would negate itself. But
and I think there's been this pandemic has brought so much to light about how fragile people's mental health is. In this situation, because people, there's so many people that were hanging in just fine, and then something like this happens, and it's like you realize everybody's vulnerable to mental health issues.
Well, also once you start losing everything,
and a lot of people are losing everything.
You freak out. You get desperate.
There's a lot. The hate, the division, the loss, the financial. Like there's so much. Everybody's being attacked by I use the word attacked loosely, but the people's things that they were maybe found that grounded them previously are under attack. Right. Their lives are being turned upside down, and I feel like I've seen people that I thought were strong, stable people that are
just losing their shit.
Lost it big time.
Losing their shit and losing their shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've had
a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety.
We've had people that I went to school with, people I knew, that committed suicide. I mean, like it's been crazy. A lot of people, man.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, it's like I started going back to my therapist. I was like, I thought I didn't need it anymore. But like my therapist was like, man, I'm getting bombarded. Like with people, So
sure.
It's
well, I mean, guys like you. I mean, you're tremendously affected by the pandemic.
Yeah, especially like the first few weeks. Like I've gotten better with it because like I was used to being on the road 40-some weeks a year, but now I'm not. So I'm getting used to like be at home again.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to break that.
I don't know what it's like to for a while. I didn't know what it was like to just be home for weeks at a time.
Yeah,
now it's
right.
like, you have so many people. If you take them out of their daily routine, they don't know how to function anymore.
No, you're right.
That's what I was going to ask you earlier about your touring. Do you just like a route that you pre-schedule all your shows?
It's kind of like playing chess a little bit. I would say it's the least enjoyable part about being a comic is, and not being a comic that has a manager or something like where you're at that level where you could pay somebody to do it for you. I think it's the worst part because it's such a pain in the ass. Because like if you're a normal person, you have a job.
Yeah.
And unless you screw up or something happens to that company, you're going to have that job. You're going to have a paycheck for the foreseeable future. Whereas, like, if you're a comic, nothing's promised to you. You got to hope that people want to just rebook you or people will book you.
Or pay you, right?
Yeah. So it's basically like it's almost like you have to apply to a job for every week of the year. And sometimes it's not that complicated. Sometimes it's just like sending a simple email, being like, "Hey, do you have that club for this time of year or whatever?" And they'll be like, "Oh, I got October 20th through 23rd or whatever." And you're like, "Okay, I'll put that on the calendar." And then you'll go and you're like, "All right, I'm going to be in this area. Maybe I could put 2 weeks together and stay up there, make it more financial sense." So you start hitting up a club that's also in that same area. So like if I'm playing 1 week in Wisconsin. Maybe the next week I'll book something in like Minnesota or something.
Right.
So you try to do it like that. But then what happens sometimes is, like I said, nothing's guaranteed to you. So sometimes you'll get bumped or, this one-nighter has stopped doing comedy night. So that gig's no longer good. And you're supposed to be up there for 2 weeks, but now half of this week has fallen out on you. So do you still go up there and do these couple dates here at the beginning of this run and the end of this run? Or it's like, so you got to sometimes you have to make decisions that are like really tough decisions where they're like, there's really no good answer.
Right. Yeah. Because you're just going to break even then, right?
Yeah. But so it's like a strategy to where you know how to approach the bookers, you know how to approach the clubs, you know how to get in with them, you know how to book yourself in a way that makes financial sense.
But you've probably built a lot of relationships too, right, with these clubs?
Yeah, and that's the good thing is like the longer you do it, the easier it gets.
Right.
Like it's a lot easier for me to get booked now. Well, maybe not now because of the pandemic, but
it will be.
But yeah. But like 2019, it was a lot easier for me to get booked in 2019 than it was for me to get booked in 2014.
Sure.
You know.
I'm surprised you don't have a manager because you're definitely at a level where you could use a manager.
I could, and I would like one, but it's like I don't have the room to give them, that chunk of my earnings yet. It's and you kind of have to you can't just be like, I want a manager. Like they kind of have to be like, I want to manage you. So
right. Well, you could reach out to managers, but in comedy, not only in acting, you have an agent. The bigger actors have managers, but a lot of jobs that I do in acting, when I get paid, they actually pay my agent separately. So like her fee is paid on top of
and that's
what
where
they
I
pay
work
me.
most through. I work through a lot of agencies.
Okay.
So so it's sort of the same thing.
Yeah, the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, just like where they would hire you to do this part in whatever project.
Right. Yeah.
They book a comic for that night or that week or whatever, and they same way.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I work through agents, but not manage. I don't have a manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people, I think, they don't know the difference between the two. I think they're one of those words that get.
They're close.
They're close, but they're not
like my
the
agent
same.
is kind of like a manager.
Yeah.
I guess the way she does, because she does a lot for us.
Yeah.
So I don't know that having a manager would be a whole lot different. On the acting front, I'm sure in comedy, I guess a manager would handle your schedule more.
Yeah. It's like where now I have to make those calls, send those emails.
Yeah.
Somebody I could just say
they would just be constantly booking
here's
you.
Here's when I want to work.
Trying to get you booked.
They'd be like, oh, here's where you're going to be working.
Right. Yeah.
There's a difference. Yeah.
And that would be nice. But if you had a manager, you might make more money.
True.
Because they would also negotiate more, right?
Yeah. But the thing that sucks about comedy is everything's sort of stagnant with it. Like everything, the pay for comedy now is the same or less as it was in the early 90s or the late 80s. Like it doesn't, there's no minimum wage.
Unless you're up at the top.
Yes. Then it's then you can negotiate and come in and do a weekend at a club for $30,000 or whatever.
But don't you think that's because there's so much talent now? Like back in the 80s and 90s, you didn't have the internet, so there was a small pool of talent.
Yeah, if you talk to comics I know a few comics that are real veterans, started doing stand up in the late 70s. There's a few that I know, and they came up during the 80s, and they could tell you all these stories about a time where the comics had the bookers by the balls, they had the clubs by the balls. Now it's they kind of make the rules, but there was a point in time where if you booked a week, you might get a call from another club saying, actually, we want to book you. We're going to offer you more. And sometimes you'd even get a third call from a third club offering you more money because there were so much more comedy clubs than there were comedians at that point. Wow. So it was if you were moderately good at comedy, you could work every week because there was just such demand for you.
Yeah.
But now it's there's there's million. I don't think there's millions, but it feels like a million comics out there.
Well, I mean, there probably are. I mean, it's
might be,
easier to learn stuff today.
Yeah.
Because of the internet, so it's so much easier to learn writing techniques and to watch so many different people perform But yeah, you see it with kids playing instruments and stuff. There's so many talented young people today in different
and you're able
areas.
to teach yourself things easier now.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you could sit there and watch tutorial videos of teaching you.
Yeah, you used to have to if you wanted to learn how to
you had to buy a book.
Weave baskets. You had to go down to the library and
right.
Yeah, do a search in the system, learn the Dewey Decimal
Had to buy
system.
books, try to find friends that knew how to halfway do something.
You got to hope that book wasn't checked out.
Yeah. So, but today it's just so much easier.
And now it's you could type in basket weaving or whatever, and there's 400 videos just right off of exactly what you're looking for on
painting,
YouTube.
anything. You learn different techniques. I was big into skateboarding when I was a kid. Now the skateboarders today do things that just seem impossible. Like the tricks they do, they do these tricks and you can't even see what they did. That they're doing so many different things at once. It's just how's that even possible?
Well, I think as a craft,
but they can play things back though,
or anything like that, like skateboarding or comedy, anything like that. As a craft sort of progresses, the pedigree.
Right,
of the people that do it tends to be higher. Because I feel I don't want to talk out my ass here, but I feel the average stand-up comedian now is a much better comic than the average comic was in 1990.
100%, yeah.
Because they're able to draw. Your
you
access
see,
to understanding what comedy is
yeah.
so much better than it was before.
Well, back then, even in 1990, if you wanted to watch stand-up comedy, you'd have to buy somebody. There was only a few specials available, and you'd have to rent them or buy them.
Or hope you were home when HBO showed them. You know?
Right, yeah. I mean, so now you can just watch endless comedy. If you want to watch comedy all day.
You could start watching comedy on the internet right now, and you'd never
watch
run out
it all.
of comedy.
Yeah.
Like you could see all. Like
yeah.
you could just keep watching it and never repeat anything.
It's like
from
TV
now
shows.
until the end of time.
It's like TV. It's like actors. I mean, TV shows back in the 90s, there were. How many TV shows were there a year back then? 30?
Are we talking
probably
cable
more
or
than that,
just-
but not that
maybe
many.
80. There's hundreds now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's just such the amount of entertainment that's available to us through so many platforms and through so many people creating it.
Right.
We'll never run out of anything.
Oh no, you could never watch it all either.
No.
Endless content. Yeah.
No. So yeah, as long as people are still creating content, there's always going to be content. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm just excited to see the next levels of it, like where it goes to.
Yeah, I think maybe it'll just like beam right into our brains at some
Oh,
point.
absolutely will. Yeah, probably within 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of weirds me out, but I mean, I think some of the stuff we've grown accustomed to now. If you had told me about it like in in the year 2000, I'd be like, what? Is this?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have so much more access to information and knowledge now too. So we.
Yeah. Still don't have flying cars yet, but we
They got them in
Well,
Japan.
they do.
Oh,
totally
they do?
have 'em.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I live under a rock. So.
Drone technology.
You remember your teachers telling you though, you're going to carry a calculator around with you for the rest of your life?
Yeah, actually, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be in our head in 10 years.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah. Joke's on you, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I mean, we actually. I think now we realize we don't know anything, but things don't seem as weird now that we know how weird things really are. Like
I think that's what
reality
they said that about everything. Though, like they thought, TV was going to screw up society, radio was going to screw up society, the internet was going to screw up society, and that social media is going to screw up society. I think we eventually grow accustomed to it, but I don't know. I think we are melting our brains in ways that are not positive now. I feel like.
Well, I think it's all evolution. I think everything's nature. It's all the same stuff. I mean, so I feel like back in the 80s and 90s, we went through a phase in humanity where we felt like we understood everything, sort of. Like it felt like we just accepted things for what they are, and everything seemed kind of like I don't know, kind of like almost like a vacation period.
Like maybe society was sort of at a stopping place. Like, things couldn't get better than
right,
this.
Yeah. Like
we've got it figured out.
Like we know now.
We have
like
VCRs now.
We've done it.
Like, what do you?
Yeah. Like this is modern times. This is what. But we didn't know shit, and now we're seeing the progression of this technology we're creating.
Well, it's like, remember when the iPod came out?
Yeah.
Like how amazing that was.
Oh yeah.
And now I found my old iPod.
Piece of garbage. Yeah.
And it's like, this is a brick. Like what? Like it was like at the time it was just it was like space technology, and you're like,
still had the analog type screen on it
with the wheel and everything.
Yeah.
Like I remember like you could watch videos on an iPod.
Yeah. Yeah. I always have to say something philosophical on this show, but I was talking to Daniel the other day. I was thinking about this the other night, and I was like, everything that exists came from the core of a star, right? So,
yeah.
Like everything in this room, all of us, like all of life, a star exploded and then it created all of life, and so really, we're all billions of years old.
Yeah.
Like every particle in your body is billions of years old that came out of the core of a star.
Yeah. Well, it's like you think about things that humans understand, and then it's like when you look at a picture, it's like you have like this, you can see this much of the picture, but when you expand it, like you zoom out, it's like there's so much shit that even like the smart of us just can't fathom. And
but we are literally nature becoming aware of itself.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what we are, and it's so strange.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a
it's wild.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. It makes you understand why people have religion and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Need something to ground you from the existential idea of what everything is.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not personally religious, but I grew
I'm
up
not
super
either.
religious.
I grew up religious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be very
Yeah.
religious. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I found out that like it like while I'm not religious, like it does. I understand like I had a dog die, so I understand like the value of religion to some people because like while I don't feel like I need it, like it would have made me feel a lot nicer when my dog died if I was like, oh, I'll see him again, you know. So it's like, yeah, like I get why it's so important to some people, you know.
Yeah.
It's like it does offer things that not believing.
Well, maybe
does not,
you
know.
will in a different way.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's likely that all life is one organism anyway.
Yeah.
And we don't know what consciousness is, right?
Yeah, I think the reality is like nobody really knows anything.
No, but it's all very connected,
speculation.
though.
Yeah.
You guys didn't watch All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh, I watched. Yeah,
There
I
you
didn't
go.
watch it.
That
I
solved-
had that movie on repeat.
Yeah,
on
that
my
was the same, man.
VHS.
That answers all your questions right there.
Yeah, you get taken out by some bulldog runs a car over you. You
Yeah,
go
yeah.
up there and there's dogs flying everywhere. There's a crocodile and there's pizza. It's fantastic. You come back to life. Dom DeLuise does the voice of your dog.
There we go. I knew I liked you. Awesome.
You know, I keep thinking about Dom DeLuise and the chef Paul Prudhomme. You know Paul Prudhomme. They look like doppelgangers. I went to culinary school before I started doing comedy. That was like my backup
interesting.
plan.
Did you do that at Uptown? Or did you manage?
Well,
a little bit both.
if you can call that,
Yeah.
chefing, it's more just line cooking in a bar. But yeah. That's what I was a cook. But yeah.
Oh, you posted a food picture the other day on Instagram. It was,
Oh yeah, I did.
and
I
it looked
did.
really good. I was like, oh, that looks pretty awesome.
See, like when I was in culinary school, I always felt like an open mic comic that didn't take it seriously. That's how I felt with like cooking. Like I like cooking. I love the culinary arts. I have tremendous respect for it. But do I really? I started to find out like I don't like working in restaurants.
Yeah, it sucks.
So it kind of works out like that because it's really an amazing craft. But I feel like if you're going to do anything with it, it's like with comedy. Like you've got to be 100% dedicated.
Right.
And all I wanted to do was do my Paula Deen impression in class. So so like I focused enough to get the skills, but I was like I'm never zeroed in on this the way I am with comedy, to where I could like own my own restaurant and be this great chef or anything. I think it's like with anything, it takes such great dedication.
Yeah.
And passion. You have to really want it.
Yeah. And I didn't really want it. It was a backup plan for me. That's the way I always saw it.
But now you can cook some really awesome food at home, right?
Yeah, I don't regret going for sure. Like it's a skill I have, and I'm happy to have it. It's useful. It makes me happy. I haven't really used it to monetize past working as a line cook, but yeah, it's one of those. It's a good skill to have, but it's like anything though. It's like you don't really have to go to culinary school. You can go on YouTube and
That's true.
there's a million cooking tutorials.
Go the autodidact way.
Yeah.
That's
I agree.
very cool. Do you have any shows coming up?
I will be at the Laugh in Fort Myers. Oh boy, it's the first week in March. So like I think it's like the
soon.
fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a website or anything?
BenJonesComedy.com.
Nice.
I got to update it because I've been in just super slacker mode.
Right,
Last
Understandably.
little while, but yeah. So and I'm on all the social media under @BenJonesComedy. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Well, dude, it's been a pleasure having you on, man.
Yeah. Thanks
Really
for having me,
enjoyed
man.
Awesome.
All right, man.
And if you guys enjoyed the episode, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Get a picture real quick, too.
Yeah, definitely, man.